July the 22nd, 2021. Guys, you're looking at U.S. satellite images, and I want to talk about a couple of things here. The wildfire smoke, and if you look closely in the left side of this image from California up to Canada, several wildfires are going on, and there's quite a bit of smoke. And we talked about up into the northeast yesterday, how the smoke was affecting the skies, the sunset, the breathing, things like that. But now this has moved down into the Carolinas. North Carolina, you're really getting hammered right now. We're going to look at that closer. First, we will look at the fires in the west, and just for note, we're going to look at that too. But coming off the Georgia coast right now, there's a 30% chance that this system will develop into something tropical over the next 5 days. It's a 20% chance in the next 48 hours. So we're going to pay attention to it, and we're going to take a closer look at it. But first, let's go to the west coast. Now, looking at California, most of this is in Northern California. You've got some fires just over the mountain range here into Nevada. And if you go north of there into Oregon, you can see right in this area, that's that fire we've been watching that could possibly go to over 1 million acres. Yesterday it was 400,000, called the Bootleg Fire. But guys, all of this is accumulating and being pulled into the system. Let's go north of this just a moment. There's fires that you can see as this becomes daylight right here in Washington State, and they're burning across Canada also. You can see the heat signatures from this particular satellite. All of this is being moved across the entire nation. I'm sure there's a lot of people having problems breathing, especially if you are already having problems, your asthma or anything like that. But guys, this is becoming a major problem across the nation. Let's take a look over in the Carolina area. Of course, you got Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia here. But guys, look at the smoke that's on top of this, what's to become a tropical system off the coast of the Carolinas now. But North Carolina and South Carolina, back into North Georgia, back into Tennessee. As it gets later into the day, you can see how the sun is reflecting down on this, and it looks unbelievable. I've never seen it that thick ever on any satellite images at all. So all of my friends, again, starting from the Carolinas and Georgia, going back across Tennessee, going up through Kentucky, all of that area on the East Coast is getting pummeled. You're probably seeing a lot of smoke. The sunset would look orange or yellow, and even just the sky now before sunset is going to have that tint to it. Now, the front is keeping it a little further north out of the coastal states, as far as the Gulf coastal states. I don't know how long that will last. It just depends on these fronts. But this is the system, and we'll take a look at the National Hurricane Center right here that's moving offshore, that's predicted to bring us some kind of tropical activity. Now, looking at the central part of the nation, watch as the accumulation of the smoke becomes very apparent down the center of this image. This is being pushed down from the north. Most of it, you've got some fires that are down into the Arizona, New Mexico area, but I've never seen this much accumulation, again, over the U.S. and satellite images over such a wide area, the entire nation. Check that out. It's amazing to see that. It's not good to breathe at all, but you know, there's things that are, I don't care what you say, that are biblical that are going on around this planet right now. China had 3 major dams collapse in 48 hours. People they drowned. Their cars in the cities were flooded. I think they had 7 inches of rain in one spot within an hour, but it was a 5,000-year flood. Goes back quite a long time, doesn't it? 5,000 years. Think about that. And, you know, that's as long as they can trace it in records. But and down in South America, where a lot of our coffee comes from, they had a freak freeze. And it put a black burn or freeze burn on the coffee plants. It destroyed the crops, all of next year's crops too. So if you enjoy coffee, that's going to be one of the least of our problems. But That's going to go sky high if you can find it. But that's all over the planet right now. All of Europe, Asia, Germany, Austria, France, massive flooding. Think about it. And everywhere crops are being damaged, either from being flooded, drought in the U.S., the price of food is going up. Transportation hubs are shutting down. They've shut down one of the major hubs in Chicago just a few days ago. I'm not sure if the entire thing shut down, but they shut all the trains down coming from the West Coast, and that's a major distribution point of food and other items throughout the central U.S. Things are really changing fast, and then we have Trojan horses within the gate, if you know what I'm talking about. So kind of enemy within, and then dealing with nature. But the devastation in China happened very fast. You know, we've been talking about the Great Comet and what happened there and what that stopped and what we're seeing now. So we know God is in control of this. But you just have to pay attention. Again, the events we're seeing on the West Coast could lead, and more than likely will, as the water wars begin, to cause the greatest migration from the West Coast we've ever seen. Let's take a look at the National Hurricane Center information for a moment. And this has been out about just a few minutes, guys. It's 8 p.m. Eastern, and it's saying a 30% chance of cyclone formation in 5 days. The 48-hour percentage is 20%. A trough of low pressure located near the coast of southeast Georgia and southern South Carolina is expected to move offshore tonight. Environmental conditions are forecast to be marginally conducive for some gradual development over the weekend and into early next week, while the system drifts slowly offshore of the southeastern U.S. We'll be keeping an eye on this, guys. More than likely, if it doesn't move out to sea, it would skate up the east coast. So that's definitely something to pay attention to, even if it's just a tropical depression. Now let's take a quick look at the sun going back for the last 4 days. Here's the 20th. You can see that we're getting CMEs from both sides of the sun. Now today has been fairly quiet. We're into the 21st and to the 22nd, as you see in the timestamp below. There's some activity, but it's not as large as it was. All of this area that's been active on the back side of the sun and on the left side, or the east corner, both top and bottom, is turning earth-facing. But again, right now, it's kind of calmed down some. You're getting minor CMEs, but nothing like we saw for a few days last week so far. Now, this is switching to a different satellite, also Earth-facing perspective. This is the SDO, or the Solar Dynamics Observatory. Coming around this east limb on the left side of this image, you've got one large system at the top right, and you've got two coming in on the bottom left there, guys. That's what's been going on the backside of the sun, and there's a few more behind this. You can see that you've got dual complexities as far as the magnetics go, and that's what it takes to really create the stronger flares and CMEs when these things arc together. Now, right now, the one in the top left right there looks to be the one that would probably give us the most trouble first. There's a lot of energy right in this area kind of bubbling up, and as it turns earth-facing, we're going to have to see if it develops. We don't know yet. This is the one that gave us the X flare, the first one of the solar cycle 25 that we're going into now, while it was leaving the opposite side of the sun. So it has the potential. Does it have enough strength left or enough energy involved in it to start throwing out stronger flares? We'll see. Remember, I kind of have that theory about the close proximity of Mercury and Venus on the backside of the sun having to do with those magnetic explosions, because it's an electric universe. That this stuff arcs back and forth. Energy is transferred between the sun and our planet through these large plasma tubes. It's called the Earth-Sun's magnetic connectivity point. All the planets have it. And that changes on the surface of the sun. It's kind of like a tornado dancing across the ground as far as where the Earth is connected. And if some of the older instruments were back up, we could tell more about it. But if a sunspot crosses that magnetic connectivity point, there's a lot of energy transferred, and it can spark a solar flare or CME. That magnetic connectivity point, guys, pulses energy from the sun to our planet every 8 minutes. Think about that. By the time this video is over, it's already happened. But it's a massive transfer tube the size of our planet, if not just a little larger. But we're going to watch this as it turns more Earth-facing, and we're going to keep an eye on it. As soon as I see any updates about this, I'm going to come in. We'll talk about it, see if there's a CME involved, and if the CME trackers have picked it up. And I'm also working on part 3 of the Great Comet, guys. It's kind of complex, but I should have it tomorrow, and I'll get it right up for there. Also, my wife Tina's got 2 dishes planned for tomorrow to put on her cooking channel. Stay tuned for that. It's going to be very good. So heads up. Be safe.